कृष्ण।
ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः. I was born in the darkest ignorance, and my spiritual master opened my eyes with the torch of knowledge. I offer my respectful obeisances unto him. नमां विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिन्निति नामिने. नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे. जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासदि गौर भक्तवृंद. हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे. वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः. Okay, so I think we had done until page
Number 9, sir.
7. Huh?
Number 9. So we
9.
have to start with 10. We completed until 9,
Yeah.
where we discuss about Krishna is the source of everything, and we have to get the knowledge from the right source.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Like there was example like Pradhuba Maharaj got the knowledge from Narada, and Narada got it from Brahma, and Brahma got it from Krishna. So everything is passed on from Krishna to
Wonderful.
us. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So here is a term parampara. So this is very, very important, or that is the disciplic succession.
Yeah.
So there are four sampradayas or lineages. We will get to learn about them later on. Kumar Sampradaya, Rudra Sampradaya, Sri Sampradaya, and Brahma Sampradaya. So these sampradayas they start from Krishna, and these are just the different different devotees are leading these sampradayas, and they are passing on the teachings as given by Krishna. But yeah, their moods are different. All the four sampradayas have different moods of serving Krishna. So like mm, this Sri Sampradaya, they worship Krishna in Aishwarya mood, like Lakshmi Narayan. But Brahma
Mhm.
Sampradaya worship Krishna in like a Madhurya mood. So that is mood of sweetness. So like that. So, but all are bona fide, and it is very, very important that whenever we hear something, we are hearing from a person who has a bona fide guru himself. He's not a self-born guru like that. So that's what Prabhupada is emphasizing. And he emphasizes all these things for our own protection, so that we don't we don't hear from a source which is not bona fide or which is not authentic. Because sometimes, like you also know that in Hinduism, like we hear about one subject matter, many people will tell different stories. The essence is the same, but the stories are different, but the different ways they are telling. So sometimes the meaning changes, the interpretation changes. So then we are not getting the exact message. So therefore, whatever the acharyas are teaching, that we should definitely hear to that, and not a person who is not in disciplic succession or the parampara. So like as I told you the example of passing, suppose there is a glass ball, it is very, very delicate, right? It is, I mean, it will crack if even it is not properly handled. So if that is being passed on from one person to another person very, very carefully, then that's how this knowledge is, right? Even if little leak is there, then a new idea will get inserted into the original knowledge, and then it will become contaminated. So therefore it is very, very important to listen in proper disciplic succession. So like we were hearing Maharaj. So Maharaj, spiritual master is Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada's spiritual master is Bhakti Siddhanta Maharaj. Bhakti Siddhanta Maharaj spiritual master is Gaur Kishore Das Babaji. So like this chain is going on, right? And it reaches up to Krishna.
Yeah.
So this is a authentic, bona fide disciplic succession parampara. So we heard from a right source. Okay, so we had read this example of Dhruva Maharaj also, right?
Yes. We have to start from page 10.
Mhm. So yeah, Prabhupada gave one concept of hearing in parampara. So hearing is very important. And then now he is talking about austerity. The Krishna consciousness process is based on austerity, but it is not very difficult. There are restrictions. If you are able to read Madhumita, let us keep it like that. You can read some pages and I can read some. Do you want
Okay.
to?
Yeah, yeah,
Or you
sure.
want to hear?
Anything is good. I mean, it's better that you know tell about it. It's really the flow is good.
Okay, yeah. So we will keep it continuity.
Hmm.
The Krishna consciousness process is based on austerity, but it is not very difficult. There are restrictions governing eating and sex life. Only prasadam, food first offered to Krishna, is taken, and sex is restricted to married life. And there are other regulations which facilitate and foster spiritual realization. It is not possible in these days to imitate Dhruva Maharaj. So, you know the story of Dhruva Maharaj?
Yes, yeah. I read that in Bhagavatam.
Yes. So,
So,
what kind of austerities he performed that he was able to see Lord Vishnu in 6 months? Right here, the whole
mhm.
life is going on, but no realizations are happening. But
Yeah.
he saw Lord Vishnu like right before him, so he was performing great austerities that he was not, like we read about this also in this earlier, that he was
Yeah.
only taking some dry leaves and then only taking some water after intermittently after few days, and then he was only taking air, means only breathing, but that also he was doing intermittently, and so much austerity performed that actually he was able to capture Lord Vishnu in his heart. And that's how the whole universe became very heavy, because he had captured Lord Vishnu, so like everybody's breathing was suffocated. So like these are very high level of austerities. It is not possible in these days to imitate Dhruva Maharaj, but by following certain basic Vedic principles we can make advancement in spiritual consciousness, Krishna consciousness. As we advance, we become perfect in knowledge. What is the use in becoming a scientist or a philosopher if we cannot say what our next life will be? A realized student of Krishna consciousness can very easily say what his next life is, what God is, what the living entity is, and what his relationship with God is. Actually, about the next life, many times in Bhagavad Gita it is mentioned that first of all, Krishna mentions in second chapter, verse 40, that even a small amount of devotional service will guarantee you a human life next birth, right? So even if you are chanted once, then human life is guaranteed, right? And he has mentioned it multiple times. Like another time, Arjuna is asking this question, most probably in chapter 6, that one who is not able to complete his devotional life and suddenly he passes away or something, and only half the way it is done, then will he be like nowhere, like a riven cloud or something, because he could not finish his devotional service properly? So Krishna said that no, he will get birth in like a great families, like Brahmana families or very rich families, where he can very very easily perform the devotional service without much discomfort. So that he has said his own words in Bhagavad Gita. So that's why Prabhupada is saying that people in Krishna consciousness know that what their next birth will be, what their next life will be. His knowledge is perfect because it is coming from perfect books of knowledge such as Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. This then is the process of Krishna consciousness. It is very easy and anyone can adopt it and make his life perfect. If someone says, I'm not educated at all and I cannot read books, he is still not disqualified. But in material standards, he's disqualified, right? Um,
Yeah.
yeah, he can still perfect his life by simply chanting the Maha Mantra Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Krishna has given us a tongue and 2 ears, and we may be surprised to know that Krishna is realized through the ears and tongue, not through the eyes. Right? Many people think that we will see Krishna. So, Prabhupada is saying that ear and tongue are sufficient.
Yeah.
By hearing his message, we learn to control the tongue, and after the tongue is controlled, the other senses follow. Of all the senses, the tongue is most voracious and difficult to control, but it can be controlled simply by chanting Hare Krishna and tasting Krishna Prasadam, food offered to Krishna. We cannot understand Krishna by sensual perception or by speculation. It is not possible, for Krishna is so great that he is beyond our sensual range. So that means Krishna is not cheaply available. He is like beyond what we can perceive. So he's unlimited, right? So and our power is limited. So he is beyond our power, but he can be understood by surrender. Krishna therefore recommends this process. Sarvadharman parityajya mamekam sharanam vraja. Aham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshayishyami ma suchaha. Give up all varieties of religiousness and just surrender unto me. And in return, I shall protect you from all sinful reactions. Therefore, you have nothing to fear. Okay, so people like the we hear stories of gopis of Vrindavan, that when they heard the flute of Krishna in the dead of the night, they just dropped whatever they had at hand. They left their husbands, they left their kids, they left whatever they're doing in the kitchen, and they just ran towards this sound of the flute. So that was their dharma, to take care of their husband, to take care of their children, take care of their house. But they just dropped everything, right? So we also become very morally dutiful many times. Oh, I cannot chant right now because so and so reason. Fill in the blanks, right?
Yeah.
But very important is to, first thing first, we need to chant as the first activity of the day. After definitely cleaning ourselves externally, then we clean ourselves internally, and by chanting Krishna's holy name first thing in the morning. So we are not on that level of gopis. Definitely we need to until and unless we become 100% purified, we have to take care of our prescribed duties, that like taking care of husband, taking care of the family, husband's family, our own family, being respectful to them. All those things we need to take care, but that we do in service to Krishna. So our mood is set, our mood is like that of a devotee, but we are actually involved in worldly activities in a mood of devotion. Therefore we have nothing to fear because we have surrendered to Krishna. So surrender means what? There is no obstacle in our life at all. We are just flowing like Ganges, and ultimately we will meet the ocean, that is Krishna for us. But when we perceive the obstacles, then the problem happens. Because if Ganges will perceive the obstacles, it cannot flow. It will become stagnant and it will, smell bad. A stagnant water smells bad, but flowing water is always remains fresh and you can drink that water. So we need to become like that. The flow should continue. The flow of devotion should continue. It's not this activity or that activity. Only hearing and chanting is devotion. But serving our family, serving the husband, whoever are our dependents, serving them nicely, everything is in Krishna's service. So then we will have nothing to fear. Our devotional service is continuing just without any obstacles. That's the perfection of life. Unfortunately, our disease is that we are rebellious. We automatically resist authority. Yet, although we say that we don't want authority, nature is so strong that it forces authority upon us. We are forced to accept the authority of nature. What can be more pathetic than a man who claims to answer to no authority but who follows his senses blindly wherever they lead him?
Yes.
Such a, yeah, enigma, right?
Yes.
Because they say that nobody can control me, nobody can control me, I am free. They say
Yeah.
US is a free country, it's a free country. But everybody is a slave to their
Senses.
senses and anger, right, and fear.
Mhm. Yeah.
So it's not free, it's just a illusion of freedom. So this deep thinking and understanding can be given by such elevated personalities only, right? Otherwise,
Yes.
we will keep living in on the surface and keep feeling a void in our heart. So therefore, devotee association is very important. Coming into association of devotees and hearing real things. What is the reality of life? So that makes us a genuine person, then slowly, slowly, and purifies us. Our
Mm.
false claim to independence is simply foolishness. We are all under authority. So, even though we are feeling that, okay, I am able to eat whatever I want, I'm cooking whatever I like, and I'm doing whatever I want, but still we are under control because I don't want this winter so harsh. I want to get out, I want to go for a walk, but I can't, right?
Yeah.
So, that means somebody else is controlling it. And I want to suppose uh, cook some particular thing, but that item is not in home, that particular ingredient, but I cannot go out because I don't know how to drive, let's say. So then
Mm.
again, I'm not in control, right? So many things are controlling. Like we read earlier also in few pages back that there are 5 reasons of any work to be performed successfully, and ultimately is the sanction of Krishna. Without Krishna's sanction, nothing will come to success, right? So when we desire something and it happens, we feel that, oh, I desired and it happened, so I am the boss. No, actually, Krishna made it happen for us. So there is always a place for gratitude to Krishna, because even if we are able to see next morning, that means we should be very very grateful to Krishna, because we are having one more day of the life to live.
Mm.
So we should be grateful for the water we are drinking, because we will read in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says that I am the taste in water, because without taste, water cannot quench our thirst, right? So Krishna
Yes.
says that I am taste in water, which is the biggest thing. Nobody can put taste in water, but what quenches our thirst is that taste, right? So Krishna is the like epitome of everything. Whatever we are feeling good about, is he is there, right? So when we surrender to Krishna, then our life become really really simple and smooth, happy life. Okay. So our false claim to independence is simply foolishness. We are all under authority, yet we say that we don't want authority. This is called maya, illusion. We do, however, have a certain independence, means minute independence we have. We can choose to be under the authority or our senses or the authority of Krishna. Okay, so we can choose to be under the authority of our senses or the authority of Krishna. The best and ultimate authority is Krishna, for he is our eternal well wisher and he always speaks for our benefit. Right? So many times something wrong happened in people's life and they say that, oh God, what I have done to you? Why are you doing this to me? Like those kind of things.
Yeah.
It's such a foolishness, because what he has to gain from us, we are so tiny, we cannot even offer anything to us, anything to him. Then why he would take any kind of revenge, or he would be happy to see us suffering? It's all wrong conceptions, right? um, in Hindi movies sometimes, Bhagwan, मैंने तेरा क्या बिगाड़ा है, क्या बिगाड़ा है, like that, this talk like
Yeah.
that. So God is very, very kind and merciful. This is all our karmas or our doing or our decisions. You know that whatever situation we are in, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, and in past birth we don't know what we have done, but that doesn't mean that Krishna is enjoying seeing us suffering. He is
Yeah, but
trying to reduce our suffering already.
yeah, but at that moment, at least we agree that there is someone as the controller, right? Our
Yes.
whole life will be saying that this is done by us, but the time we are in problem, we go back
Yes.
to God. And that time we realize the controller is only the God, right?
Yes, that's a very good
When
point.
nothing is in our hand, we realize that.
Yes,
Otherwise,
very.
if something is going smoothly, we
Hmm.
feel like we are doing that.
So true.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a very wonderful point actually. Yeah, but you know, then when we feel that okay, somebody else is in control, then we become rebellious actually. Many people do not surrender to that control.
Yeah. Yeah.
They
True.
try to, fight it. So
Yeah.
many people will say, why God is doing like this to us and all those things. And I mean, sometimes we have also seen people, angrily throwing away the deities of God,
Oh
that I
my God.
don't want him in my house, like that. And this is all, this is called as ignorance, lack of knowledge. And I'm so grateful to Srila Prabhupada that he is giving us all this knowledge, so that we at least know what is what, and how we should be, what should be our direction of thinking. So
Yeah.
that's why I appreciate Prabhupada very, very much since I started reading him. And since then, I have become so fond of reading Srila Prabhupada's books that if I get a buddy, I can read for
Yeah.
how much ever. And thank you for being on this reading call regularly, Madhumita.
Yeah,
I really
it's
appreciate
all
it.
for our benefit. Every
Yes,
word, everything that we do in our life, it's for our benefit. The
yes,
more we will go into the positive one, it'll
yes,
be good for us.
absolutely, absolutely. So,
Rather than reading magazines and all, if you read this is
yeah,
actually going to benefit you.
so true, so true. Yeah,
That doesn't mean that you detach from this. You have that one, but the thing that you should take is these
Mhm.
scriptures and these books.
Yeah,
And
yeah. Yeah, I mean, you know what, they, like, this is philosophy, so somebody might feel that, oh, how long we can read philosophy, and that's true also, that's fine.
yeah.
But what we can do is, we can there are a lot of stories available, there are a
Mhm.
lot of scriptural stories are there, which set very, very good examples. So all those can also be read. So
Yeah.
it's not only philosophy. Stories are also there, which are also teaching us some good things. Like you mentioned Bhagavatam, you read Dhruva Maharaja's story in Bhagavatam. So
Yeah.
Bhagavatam is filled with so many stories of pure devotees and so
Yeah.
many interesting lessons from them. So yeah, there is a lot of fun in Krishna consciousness. If we want to hear music, we can hear bhajans and kirtans. So many wonderful kirtans and bhajans are there. Fast tune, slow tune, whatever.
Yeah.
So if we
Whatever
want,
you like.
huh?
God has given everything. Whatever is
Yeah,
you like, you pick that.
exactly. So it's just matter of our choice. Like Prabhupada just said, no, we are like, what did he say? Uh, we are under authority, whether we can choose the authority of our senses or authority of Krishna, right? Here he
Yeah.
says, right? So this independence or the free will that has been given to us, the choice is in our hands, and then we are making our shaping our life through those choices, right? So
Yeah.
later point, we should not be lamenting, oh Krishna, why are you doing this with me? Because you
Yeah.
made your own choices, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I can either listen to a rock, hip hop or something, or I can listen to kirtan bhajan, right? So,
Yeah.
in which song type my soul will feel pacified? Obviously, Krishna bhajan, right? Because our soul is hankering for Krishna, because soul knows that I am part and parcel of Krishna and I want to go back because I'm suffering in this material world.
Mm.
So, that's very, very important what we are choosing. So, simply by hearing of his glories from Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, and by chanting his names, Hare Krishna, we can swiftly perfect our lives.
Mm.
Okay, so chapter 2, we are starting.
Okay.
Getting out the material mire. Our subject matter is most sublime, the glorification of the holy name of God. So, in the first chapter, just a little summary that he established that who is the source of all sources, and how actually we think that we are free, but actually the whole material world is actually controlled, and we are into this material world, so we are also controlled. But if we surrender to Krishna, then that is the real freedom available to us, right? So that was the essence of the whole thing. Now, second chapter, getting out of material mire. Our subject matter is most sublime, the glorification of the holy name of God. This subject was discussed by Maharaj Parikshit and Shukadev Goswami, who noted that a Brahmana who was very fallen and addicted to all kinds of sinful activities was saved simply by chanting the holy names of Krishna. This is found in the sixth canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, an epic work by Vyasdev describing the pastimes of Lord Krishna and elaborating on the philosophy of Krishna consciousness. In the fifth canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, the universal planetary system are very fully explained. Within the universe, there are lower, middle, and higher planetary systems. Actually, not only the Bhagavatam, but all religious scripture contain description of hellish or lower planetary systems and heavenly or higher systems. Srimad Bhagavatam gives evidence of where these planets are and indicates how far they are from this planet. How far they are from this planet. Okay, our planet. Just as astronomers have calculated how far the moon and other heavenly bodies are from Earth. Similarly, the Bhagavatam contains description of the various planets. Even on this planet, we experience different climatic conditions. In temperate countries such as the United States, the climate is different from that of a tropical country like India. Just as there are environmental differences on this planet, there are other planets which have far different atmospheres and environments. After hearing a description of such planet from Shukdev Goswami, Parikshit Maharaj said, अधुनेहा महाभागा यथैव नरकान् नरः नानो ग्रया तान्नान् नेया तन्मे व्याख्यातुम arhasi. Sir, I have heard from you about the hellish planet. Men who are very sinful are sent to those planets. Bhagavatam 6:16. Parikshit Maharaj was a Vaishnava devotee, and a Vaishnava always feels compassion for others' distress. For instance, when Lord Jesus Christ appeared, he was greatly aggrieved by the miserable condition of the people, regardless of the country or sect to which they belong. All Vaishnavas or devotees, any people who are God conscious or Krishna conscious, are thus compassionate. Therefore, to blaspheme a Vaishnava, a preacher of God's glories, is a great offense. Krishna never tolerates offenses committed at the lotus feet of a pure Vaishnava. A Vaishnava, however, is always ready to forgive such offenses. Krupambudhi. A Vaishnava is an ocean of mercy. Ambudhi means ocean and Kripa means mercy. A Vaishnava is an ocean of mercy. Vancha Kalpataru. Everyone has desires, but a Vaishnava can fulfill all desires. Kalpataru refers to a tree in the spiritual world, which is called a wish fulfilling tree. In this material world, a particular type of fruit can only be gotten from a particular type of tree. But in Krishna Loka, as well as in all other planets in the spiritual sky, all the trees are spiritual and will yield whatever one desires. That is described in the Brahma Samhita, Chintamani Prakhara Sadma Sukalpa Vraksha. A pure Vaishnava is compared to such a wish fulfilling tree. for he can bestow a matchless gift upon a sincere disciple, Krishna consciousness.
Hmm.
Yes, if you get Krishna consciousness, then all wishes are fulfilled actually. A Vaishnava is addressed as Mahabhaga, which means fortunate. One who becomes a Vaishnava and is God conscious is understood to be greatly fortunate. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the chief exponent of Krishna consciousness in this age, has explained that the living entities in various planetary systems all over the universe are rotating in different species of life. A living entity can go wherever he likes, to heaven or to hell, simply by preparing himself for either place. There are many heavenly planets, many hellish planets, and many species of life. Padma Puran estimates the species of life to be 8,400,000, and the living entity is rotating or wandering through these species and creating bodies according to his mentality in the present life. As you sow, so shall you reap, is the law that governs here. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says that out of these numberless living entities who are transmigrating in the material world, one may be fortunate enough to take to Krishna consciousness. Krishna consciousness is being distributed freely everywhere, yet not everyone takes to it, especially in this age of Kali. So many book distributors, Sankirtan people, groups, they go on the streets and sing, like in New York, this Sankirtan party is singing almost every day. I think in winter also they do it in subway railway stations. So they are doing this Sankirtan every day, distributing books, distributing prasadam, and in many parts of the world, like in Mahakumbh, they are feeding almost 1 lakh people every day. ISKCON and Adani group of industries, they have a joint venture. So like there are lot of opportunities, like many people will know, like okay, ISKCON is there, and they can inquire about their philosophy and what they are doing. But very few people take to Krishna consciousness. This is the real thing. Like Prabhupada used to say, somebody asked him, why, if Krishna consciousness is so good, then why doesn't everybody take it? Then Prabhupada says that everybody cannot afford a diamond. So Krishna consciousness is like a diamond, right? And
Hmm.
everybody cannot afford it. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, he was very like witty, and presence of mind was immense.
Yeah.
Very much Krishna conscious.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Krishna consciousness is being distributed freely everywhere, yet not everyone takes to it, especially in the age of Kali. Because of this, Srimad Bhagavatam characterizes people in the age of Kali as unfortunate. Therefore, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says that only those who are fortunate take to this Krishna consciousness and thus attain a pleasant and blissful life of knowledge. It is the duty of a Vaishnava to go from door to door to try to get unfortunate people to accept a good fortune. So now you will know in March, Gaur Purnima will come. So
Yeah.
ISKCON temples will be celebrating the birthday of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu.
Okay.
So, yeah, so Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Krishna himself. He came
Yeah. Yeah.
to, distribute his own love through his name. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he took the form of like the complexion of Radharani to feel
Yeah.
like how the highest devotee feels. And that's what the love that he is feeling, he is distributing everybody freely through the chanting of holy name. So he told Nityananda Mahaprabhu and Haridas Thakur to go door to door and beg people to chant holy names. And they
Hmm.
were doing it actually. So it is the duty of a Vaishnava to go from door to door to try to get unfortunate. And Nityananda Mahaprabhu is nobody else but Lord Balram himself. And
Oh, okay.
Yes, Krishna and Balram, they themselves are distributing the holy name door to door. And Haridas Thakur is a partial incarnation of Lord Brahma. So he is born in a Muslim family, although
Hmm.
500 years ago, but he is called as Namacharya because he's so much in love with the holy names of Krishna that he would chant 192 rounds a day, means 24
Oh,
hours he was
wow.
chanting. Mhm.
Mm.
Yes, Haridas Thakur. Maybe in Vaishnava etiquette, some examples were also given of Haridas Thakur. So, yeah, it's the duty of a Vaishnava to go from door to door to try to get unfortunate people to accept good fortune. A Vaishnava thinks, how can these people be delivered from their hellish life? That was also Maharaj Parikshit's inquiry. Sir, he said, you have described that because of one's sinful activities, he is put into hellish condition of life or in hellish planetary system. Now, what are the methods by which such a person can be saved? Right? So, actually, Parikshit Maharaj asked in Canto number 6 that in Canto number 5, all the narakas are explained. Okay, all the hells are
Mm.
explained in Canto 5. So then he is asking question that you have explained everything, but he felt very compassionate about all those souls who are in ignorance doing a lot of mistakes and after all going to the hellish planets. That what is, how can they be saved? It is very important question. When a Vaishnava comes, when God Himself comes, or when God's sons or His very confidential devotees come, their only mission is to save sinful men who are suffering. They have knowledge of how to do this. When Prahlad Maharaj met Lord Narsimhadev, he said, Naivo dvije para duratya vaitaranyas तद्वीर्य गायना महामृता मग्न चित्ता सोचेततो विमुखा चेतसा इंद्रियार्था माया सुखाया भरम उद्वाहतो विमूढ़ान. My dear Lord, Prahlad began, I am not very anxious for my own deliverance. Means I am not very anxious for my own mukti. At this point, we may contrast this attitude with that of Mayavadi philosophers, who are very careful that their personal salvation is never interrupted. So, like these Mayavadis, this is a like a different concept. So these are
Mm.
the people who think that all are God. Okay, who propagate this philosophy that everybody is God,
Mm.
and once the curtain of Maya is gone, they will realize their true identity as God Himself. But then Prabhupada asks a question to such people that if He is God, then how Maya can cover God? God is not under any authority. So
Mhm.
nobody can cover God. How Maya can cover the God? So that's when they are not able to answer. So such people are called as Mayavadi. So they are saying that, okay, when Maya will be gone, then you will become a God. So everybody is a God. Only Maya is right now stopping them to realize themselves. So they are, by doing this, what they are doing? Actually, they are demeaning the value of God, right? They're,
Mm.
they are saying that everybody is God, but everybody is a servant of God. That is acceptable. But everybody is not God. God's position is one and that is taken. That is the God, right? And we call
Yeah.
him Krishna, but Muslims may call him Allah, and Jews may call him Yehovah or something, right? But God is one. We may call him by different names, right? Like a child is very cute and mother calls him by a different name, father calls him by a different name, his friends call him by a different name, his aunt calls him by a different name, but everybody's love is almost the same to the child, right? So
Yeah.
similarly, our love for God is same, we are just calling him by different names. That's it. So Mayavadi philosophers who are very careful, so they want their liberation, mukti, but
Mm.
devotee doesn't want mukti even.
Mm.
What does he want? What does a devotee want? Do you know?
Pure devotional service. I mean everything that you do for God.
Yes, very good. He is asking for service only. He
Yeah,
doesn't
service
care.
only.
Yeah, where is whether he is in spiritual world or material world or some other planet, doesn't care.
Yeah,
He wants service, right?
correct. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but Mayavadi people or philosophers, they are interested in mukti. They don't want to come to this material world. They
Mm.
feel that it is very miserable, so they don't want to come here. But the fun is when even in amidst misery you are able to serve Krishna lovingly.
There was a good example for this that I heard, like Uddhav Maharaj,
Hmm.
like Uddhav ji.
Mm-hmm.
So Krishna's friend is Uddhav ji, so he was into more into liberation. He was just like thinking like yoga, I mean, detached from everything. You will get, ultimate God, you'll get liberation.
Mm-hmm.
But that is why, and then Krishna saw there is a ego raised in this person that liberation is everything. And he was saying that why gopis are very mad about you. Why gopis are no such, I mean, because you have to tell them, the gopis, that liberation is the primary important, not no love. So that is why Krishna sent Uddhav ji to to near to the gopis to understand what a pure love is. And when Uddhav ji went there and spent the time with the gopis, he realized that what a devotee should be, how the pure love should be. And when he
Mm-hmm.
came back, he was just singing Radhe, Radhe, Radhe. Because when he saw the devotion of, I mean, the pure love that is the
Mm-hmm.
gopis and Radha has,
Mm-hmm.
because they were seeing everything everywhere Krishna.
Yes.
I mean, when he took that letter and then went to the gopi, everyone read that letter, that what Krishna has written about me. Is my name there? Did
Mm.
Krishna think about me? I mean, and Uddhav ji was astonished to see that.
Yeah.
So that is a good story that I heard. I think this is related to this,
Yes,
what
yes,
we are
yes.
seeing.
Yeah. He actually prayed in the to the gopis that let me just become a blade of grass in Vrindavan,
Yeah.
that all these gopis will pass through my head and I will keep getting the dust of their lotus feet.
Yeah.
They were so moved. So true. Wonderful example, Dumita. Very nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just remember that one
Mm-hmm.
because I like that topic. I mean that story.
Mm. Yes, yes, yes.
Because I saw the old Sri Krishna episodes that was coming
Uh,
pretty old when I was kid.
yeah.
So I was watching that one in YouTube, and that
Yes.
particular section was really wonderful. If you
Mm-hmm.
just see that episodes itself, you feel that goosebumps. I mean, when you see how that person turned from this to this, when he
Yeah.
came back in
Yeah.
pure devotion, I love that episode.
Yeah, I just want to like a little bit caution because
Mm.
yes, these stories are beautiful, but
Yeah,
they dramatize it also very much so that
yeah,
people
true.
like it.
Yeah.
So sometimes they will make a twist in the story. Although Uddhav ji was a pure devotee of the Lord,
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
he knew everything, but still Krishna was just wanting to show him the gopis love also,
Yeah,
right?
correct.
So
Right.
yeah, so this is a very good example, but still, I mean,
Hmm.
we need to read from, let's say, Krishna book is there, Prabhupada written. So
Yeah, yeah.
all those episodes will be there in Ramanand Sagar's Sri Krishna serial
Yeah,
also.
yeah.
Yeah.
Correct. Okay.
So we can verify, when we read, we can verify
Hmm.
those because
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
this episode actually we also performed in a drama.
Oh,
So
okay.
yeah,
Hmm.
and yes, but just, I mean, a word of caution, but yeah, yeah, what the example that you gave is like very nice, beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they often think if I go to preach and associate with others, I may fall down. These Mayavadis
Hmm.
are thinking like that. Okay. So they are worried only about their mukti. They are not worrying about others, like how Parikshit Maharaj is worrying about the people, that how
Hmm.
can they be saved from going to the hell. Right. So Mayavadis are not thinking like that. So they think that if I will associate, then I may fall down because of their natures. Right. Many
Hmm.
times even devotees judge others. Oh, I don't want to go with them because they eat this, they eat that, so I will also fall down, so and my realization will be finished. So they are actually Mayavadis. Therefore they do not come forward to preach. Only the Vaishnavas come, even at the risk of fall down, but they do not fall down. Right. A Vaishnava is
Hmm.
even willing to go to hell to deliver conditioned souls. This is also Prahlad Maharaj mission. He went on.
Hmm.
Okay, so we will stop here because this is we will
Yeah.
continue from here next time.
Okay.
Yeah, so page number 17.
17.
Hmm. Yeah, so in essence, Actually, today we learned that how a Vaishnav Mahabhagavat is very compassionate for others, and
Hmm.
how Parikshit Maharaj is asking a question. And by doing this, this is the background information Prabhupada is giving, and he will bring us to chanting of the holy name. Because I know in Canto 6, it is
Hmm.
talking about the story of Ajamil. Uh,
Hmm. Ajamil, yeah.
yeah, so
His
that
son
will
was.
come. Yeah, now that story of Ajamil will be coming. So Prabhupada is building a like a sort of background for that.
Hmm. Okay.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So now he wants to bring us to chanting of the holy name, because in chapter 2, in the beginning, he said, our subject matter is most sublime, the glorification of holy name of the God, holy name of God. So this is what
Hmm.
he will be establishing soon. So yeah, we will see in the next session what
Hmm.
Prabhupada says.
Okay.
So yeah, you have any more sharing?
No, no, I'm good.
Okay. Yeah, thank you, Madhumita. So I'll see you.
Yeah,
We
see
are
you
also
next.
doing Bhakti Vriksha. One second, I will stop the recording.
Okay.